Good day, I am John Clarence Eminjonko, and this is History of Philippine Democracy. And today's episode is entitled, A Wife's Loss for a Nation's Gain of Freedom. In today's episode, we will tackle a part of President Corazon Aquino's speech before the U.S. Congress. This speech was delivered in Washington, D.C., USA on September 18, 1986, a few months after Aquino became the 11th President of the Philippines. In this speech, Cory shared her experiences from losing her husband to being the one who has the task to free the Filipinos and to fight for democracy. Also, she presented some of her plans for the Philippines and acknowledged the debt left by the previous administration. And to end her speech, she thanked the Americans for all the help and hoped that the two nations be committed to freedom. So now let us start on discussing the content of her speech. She started the speech by reminiscing that she left America in 1983 to bury her husband. During that time, she had thought that the dream of Ninoy of Philippine freedom would also be buried. However, she returned to America 3 years after as the head of a free Philippines. She said that by burying her husband, a whole nation honored him. The country regained its faith and hope for a better future and recovered its own due to the death of her husband. She stated, "In giving, we receive. In losing, we find. And out of defeat, we snatch our victory." With that, Cory meant that the Filipino people gained motivation and force in return for her husband's death. Ninoy is indeed a pleasing sacrifice for the nation, but for his family, he is a loving husband and father. Thus, losing him will always be painful for them. President Cory mentioned that their family lost Ninoy 3 times in their lives. The first time was in September 1972 when dictator Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law, which suspended the Constitution and shut down the Congress. As a result, he detained Cory's husband and thousands of people who had spoken up. Ninoy was imprisoned in Fort Bonifacio because of false charges of murder, illegal possession of firearms, and subversion, which is the start of the long misery reserved for him. President Corazon Aquino stated,
"The dictator already knew that Ninoy was not a body merely to be imprisoned, but a spirit he must break."
Also, even if the dictatorship closes down all institutions that rally for democracy, Ninoy's flair for it will keep on burning. Aquino meant that Marcos was aware that her husband's will to fight injustices would never falter because of mere imprisonment. So, to break his spirit, they terrorized him by locking him in a small prison cell in Fort Magsaysay. The authorities would strip him naked and threaten him that they would kill him. Ninoy endured all of it, while Cory was barely holding up, especially since they were not telling her anything that had happened to her husband for 43 days. Due to that, she and her family felt they had lost Ninoy. After the things that they did to her husband did not work, Ninoy was put on military trial for subversion, murder, and a host of other crimes. So, to protest the injustice of his trial before a military commission, he went fasting. He would not eat anything and believed that if he survives, God had a different plan for him. So, he is really determined to fast. Because of that, this is the second time that they have lost Ninoy. He stopped only when he realized that they will still keep him even after his brain has been destroyed. So, he ended his fast on the 40th day. For him, it was a symbolic gesture, and God meant him for other things. So, that's all for this part of President Corazon Aquino's speech, and to know the other contents of her speech, let us now proceed to the next video. Thank you for watching.